Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming, a more Democracy 3 Africa, playing as Zambia going into year 10, election season in Zambia. We are going into our second and final election. Now, of course, I can't get re-elected because we do have term limits in this game, but, I mean, I'm not a dictator. I mean, that was my Egyptian playthrough. Go watch that. But my successor, hopefully, will get elected in a landslide, and all of the polls are saying that it's going to be a landslide. I should be getting 100% of the vote, according to them. We'll see if that actually goes through, because as we learned from the United States election, the pollsters can be wrong. But I think I have earned the approval of the Zambian people. I've gotten rid of almost every negative event. The general strike and the corporate exodus and the petrol protests, those are all gone. We do still have the rare earth crisis, and I don't think we're ever going to get rid of that. To be honest, I'm not even sure how you would get rid of this. Like, really. The rare earth metal mining is not going to cut it. I feel like the only way to stop this is to reduce your technology. And I'm not going to do that because I like the technological advantage, so it's a little bit weird. I guess it's another reason not to play with the Clones and Drones expansion. We also have our real estate bubble, which is ever so close to the stop trigger, but not quite there. And the state housing says it's going to take me the rest of the way, but as we know from the real estate bubble, it can kind of bounce back up and down as necessary. Hopefully we get lucky and it does not. Let's go ahead and begin year 10. We have a market meltdown. That sucks. That's going to hurt the GDP. Not my fault, but it happens sometimes, so we'll have to live with that. Before I go too far into this, is there anything I want to talk about? I'm just trying to think this through for a second. The election was last week in the United States. I've talked about it in my last two videos. I guess the only thing I could really follow up on is just sort of the state of the country a week later. And I'll be honest, it's not quite what I would have hoped for. It's disappointing, just to put it mildly. I mean, yeah, you had your rejoicing on the right, you had your gnashing of teeth on the left, and I kind of figured after a few days it would kind of, just kind of end, and we're good. I mean, Donald Trump won, and a lot of people are unhappy about it. He didn't get the popular vote. Well, okay, a lot of people are unhappy about it, but this is our system, and we have this system for a reason. It's not, I mean, the rules were known ahead of time, but instead we have people protesting in the streets of several different cities, thousands and thousands of people shouting F Trump and not my president. Well, yeah, he kind of is your president. I mean, I know you're not happy about it, but you live in the United States of America, and our democracy just elected Donald Trump as the leader. He's your leader. I know you don't like him. You don't have to like him. That's fine. But he is your president. And until such a time that you revoke your American citizenship and leave the country. So there you go. Sorry, but it's kind of the way it is. And I look at that and I see such hypocrisy. It just sickens me, really. The state of the left in the United States. I mean, I'm a classical liberal, okay? I love liberalism in the proper sense, of and pertaining to liberty, okay? So in the grand scheme of, like, political ideologies in the world, I would be probably kind of on the left side. And yet, the left in the United States, sometimes I don't even want to call them liberals because I don't see much liberalism in them. I mean, you have people marching up and down the streets outright rejecting the results of our democratic system. And it's funny to me because it wasn't that long ago in the third presidential debate that Donald Trump was asked point blank, are you going to accept the results of the election? And he said, I will tell you at the time. Now, I know why he said that, but I still condemned him for it because I thought it was kind of a dumb thing to say. It's certainly the way he said it. I think what he was trying to get at is, if I see any any evidence of foul play, I will not accept the result. And frankly, he's not that wrong to think that, because don't forget, we know from the leaked emails that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic Party conspired against Bernie Sanders and rigged the system. Would they try that on the national level? Apparently not, because Donald Trump won, but I see why maybe he said, if there's signs of foul play, I will not accept the results. But he could have said that, but he didn't. Instead, he was overly broad and kind of left everyone in suspense, when that's not something to leave people in suspense about. So he said it stupidly, and I would have condemned him for that, and so did a lot of other people. That's fine. The problem is, now you have a lot of those same people who condemned him actually doing what he said he might do, and that is rejecting the results of the election. Come on, you don't see the hypocrisy in that, guys? Really? This is why no one's going to take you seriously anymore. Ugh, the left. It kills me. It kills me inside. Ooh. But whatever. Now, you know what even makes this worse? All right, now I'm ranting, but whatever. You know what makes this even worse? There's a petition going around with, I think, almost 4 million signatures at this point. It was over 3 million last I saw. I don't remember who sponsored it. Maybe it was change.org. It probably was. I don't know. But either way, almost 4 million people encouraging the representatives elected in our electoral college to defy their mandate and vote for Hillary Clinton to stop Trump. Like, are you guys kidding me? First off, I now know that there are almost 4 million people who have no idea how our electoral college system works. Those are not some independent delegates that we assigned. Those are party members. You can't seriously think that you can tell Republicans, hey, vote against Republicans. They're not going to do it. Don't be idiots. But let's even suppose that they did. Okay, let's suppose that they did. What do you think is going to happen, guys? Donald Trump won the election fair and square. He didn't win the popular vote. I know, and that is upsetting to some people, and I said last video that that's very unfortunate because it's going to result in this discussion. But here we are. We knew what the rules were ahead of time. It has been established for centuries that this is the way we do our elections, and he won. Okay? You can't then go, after the rules have already been decided, after the election has been cast and you lost, you can't then change the rules afterwards. That's called cheating. What do you think is going to happen? An uprising is going to happen of almost civil war proportions. Guys, don't forget that this is a nation with over 300 million guns. Okay, a bunch of people who are very happy to raise up their guns and say, nope, the government is not cheating us out of our system. We voted and you can't defy our democratic system. You can't. What do you think is going to happen, guys? Come on. The level of stupidity that this election has brought out on both sides, it just really grinds my gears. And I really don't tolerate stupid very well. I just don't. I try. I really try. But I'm not very good at it. But if you are out protesting in the streets, first off, no one is taking you seriously. Nobody at all is taking you seriously. You're a bunch of spoiled millennial brats. And I say that because it's primarily millennials. And I'm a millennial. I'm ashamed of my generation. Like, good God, people. He is your president. I know you don't like it. You don't have to like it. But he is your president. You lost. Get over it. Rally. Organize. Attempt to do something about it next time. But for now, you have accomplished nothing, and you're only making things worse. I still believe, as I have said in the last couple of videos, that if Americans will unite, right, put aside their differences, bury the hatchet, and finally come back together, we'll be fine. All right, Donald Trump, I don't really have a lot of hope that he's going to be a great president, although to be fair, I'm going to go into this with an open mind. He's been elected. He may not have been my first choice, but he is my president, and I certainly don't want our leader to fail. I want the United States to be strong, so I will try to support him as best as I can to the extent that I think is appropriate, okay? But if the Americans will come together, then Donald Trump really can't do much of anything against the American people. He still has to go through Congress. He still has the Supreme Court. There's a lot of checks and balances to stop him from doing anything too stupid. Or anything stupid at all. Who knows? He might surprise us all. I don't know yet. There's no way to know. But my point is, it's only when the American people are united that we can guarantee that we're going to be safe. Our democracy will be safe. But not when you guys go do blatantly undemocratic crap like this. Guys. Left. I mean, I don't recall seeing big protests in the streets when Obama won in 2008. And that was when the right was supposedly a bunch of racists. You didn't see people going out there saying, no black presidents. They didn't do it. I don't know anyone who did it. I never saw any coverage of that. And yet here you guys are freaking out about Donald Trump. He's not great. Okay, he said some stupid divisive things. Got it. He's your president. Get over it. I don't know. I'm going to go on for another half an hour, and I can't do that. Let's just play the game. Okay, let's finish this off. I think you guys know where I stand. You guys knew ahead of time that I wasn't really happy about either one in this race. I had no horse in this race. I was going to be unhappy either way. And a lot of you guys made some very interesting arguments on behalf of Trump, on behalf of Clinton, and it was very interesting and thoughtful and provoked a good conversation. And I really appreciate the maturity that you guys have shown on both sides, for the most part. But man, I just can't handle stupid. Can't do it. All right, we're going to reduce our healthcare, which sounds stupid in and of itself, I know. But We already have healthcare vouchers, okay? We basically give out lots of taxpayer-funded vouchers to everybody. They go off, they pick their healthcare, and blah, blah, blah. We already have a strong private healthcare market. We do not need to spend this much money on a state healthcare service when our health is pretty much already maxed out. Let's save some money. We'll save somewhere around 800 million kwacha, bring it down to about $1 billion. So all major operations can be covered under certain emergency circumstances. That's just the minimum level of state healthcare that we will have. And it will reduce our socialism membership, it will make capitalists happy, and blah, 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 blah. Pretty good across the board. Now, I will save my last 6 points, because I do need more money. I want to fix this deficit. And raising the petrol tax back up to 35% or so could be a pretty effective way to do that. That does cost 36 political capital, though, so we will save these 6 points and move on. And let's see. Ooh, cool, egalitarian society. Sweet! We're pretty equal, it turns out. Racial tension is very low. Equality is okay, not bad. It's going up a little bit. And education is quite high as well. In fact, it has been high for a very, very long time. Nice! Alright, I like this event. It makes everyone happy. Cool. Airport expansion. You know what? We're going to go ahead and allow it. We will allow the expansion of an airport for better tourism and so on. Why is poverty going back up? How dare you? You get back down there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get rid of it, but we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and pass the increased petrol tax. 35% is about what I call the sweet spot, where you can get the maximum amount of revenue without having any drastic impact on the GDP. Actually, 40% is really the perfect sweet spot, but because we had a negative event, I don't feel like going back up to the previous levels. Just in case, we'll do 35%, and that will be fine. That's a bit more money for me. Next turn. This is going to be a pretty short video, I think. Wow, hello. Weather prediction technology. Cool, really good technology in space programs and satellites means we can predict the weather. Rural people are happy, everyone's happy, tourism goes up because they can predict what days are sunny and a perfect day to go to the beach. I love it. Is there even a beach in Zambia? I don't think so. Whatever. Retail merger. A large retail chain store has announced plans to buy out one of its main competitors. So this is basically going into kind of monopoly laws and stuff and making sure that people have certain market shares, blah, blah, blah. Actually, this isn't really such a big deal to me. I know there's a lot of concern about big companies swallowing up all the competition. Monopolies, honestly, don't scare me that much in a market. Not really. I know that... Okay, let me take a step back for a second. The reason that a lot of people are concerned about monopolies in a free market is because if there is no competition, then that means that I, the monopoly owner, can set prices for whatever good and service I want, as high as I want, and people have to come to me if they want it at all, right? And that's a very valid concern. Here's the thing. There are a couple of different things that will hinder them from being abusive with it. One, if they raise their prices so high that no one can afford it, well, then they're not going to get any money because they're not selling their product or service. At some point, they have to be realistic with their prices. Maybe a little bit high, yeah, a little bit higher than the free market with competition would otherwise have, but they can't go so high that they extort people that no one gets things that they need. That's not in their best interest, okay? Secondly, as long as they are not able to rig or regulate the market in such a way that competition cannot arise, if they raise prices too high, then competition will start up, right? The only reason monopolies are dangerous to me, and a very real concern, is if they then use their wealth to exert influence on the government and have the government pass laws making it very difficult for new competitors to start a new company. That is when it becomes dangerous. That's when a monopoly becomes overly powerful. I mean, don't forget, okay, in the United States, it wasn't that long ago, we had some grocery stores. I'm trying to remember its name. If I can remember its name, I'll flash its name across the screen right now. But there was a grocery store that basically had, 90% of grocery sales in the United States. It was practically a monopoly, but even that monopoly fell apart once upon a time because it couldn't innovate to meet the needs of the market and new competitors arose. That's what happens. So I don't know. I think allowing the merger is probably okay. Again, I understand that some people will probably say, hey, monopolies are a bad thing, but ultimately the free market will have to regulate it, and as long as nobody is interfering in the free market and nobody is making it needlessly hard for new competitors to start a company, then theoretically, you're going to be fine. Theoretically. Anyway, alright, we still have not gotten rid of this stupid real estate bubble, and it's really starting to annoy me. I didn't want to do it, but we're going to do it. Rent controls. We're going to reduce it by about 10%. 10.2%. How long will it take? Not very long. Let's raise it a little higher. 12%? 13%. Okay. This is really, really going to upset the capitalists. Like, it's really bad. But we need to get rid of the real estate bubble, so we are going to pass it, and hopefully next turn it actually does get rid of it. We'll see if that works. Other things that we could do. Let's ban low MPG cars, make sure that we don't have any nasty events spawn right before the end of this video. And let's move on into the next turn. Please go away, real estate bubble. It didn't go away! Gosh dang it! Newly industrialized country status. Oh, cool. Well, capitalists will be happy about that. Global economy is doing okay. Poverty is going back down. Our deficit is kind of under control, although we do have over 100 billion kwacha in debt. Okay, so the real estate bubble will go away as of next turn. It's too bad that I'm going into an election, so I won't be able to see the result of it. But just know, guys, that this is done. It's gone. Rent controls turns out to be very effective in this game. I won't rehash what we've talked about before, but there it is. We have one more turn, 34 political capital. What can we do? We didn't actually get the urbanization event, which shocks me. That almost always happens when I play Democracy 3 Africa. We have 100% of the population in the major metropolitan area. No rural people at all. And yet, we haven't gotten urbanization. Now, if you do get that event, okay, if you do get urbanization, one thing you can do is pass agricultural land tenure. We don't have to do this, but for future reference, if you're playing the game and you find this to be a problem, this is actually a pretty effective counter that I have found. We establish a regime of farmers owning the lands that they work. So I think that basically the way this works is the longer farmers work their lands, basically they just own the land that they work. That's it. They feel invested because they get land. It incentivizes people to go out and farm. And that's exactly what this is going to do. And it gets a lot of people out of the city, back into the farming areas, which is good for your country. We don't have to worry about this, but it's pretty cool. I guess we could do a few other things. What do I care about, really? Screw it. Mars program! I don't have to worry about our deficit anymore. We're going to Mars! We are establishing a Mars base! Just because Zambia can do it. And that'll get rid of the religious membership and so on and so forth. Unemployment is gone. It'll be great. Religious membership is actually down to 0.7% of the population, so by the time that I end this video, it will be gone for good. And I guess our last couple things, let's go ahead and pass a bicycling campaign to increase our health. And let's win the favor of the children's. Youth Politics Council. We shall indoctrinate the children. It'll be great. Yeah, real estate bubble. I really wish that would have gone away one turn sooner, but oh well. You guys know that it's gone. Rare Earth Crisis is actually still ticking down. It's going to take a while, but it is going away a little bit. I don't know how long it'll take. Really, when it comes to the Rare Earth Crisis, what you want to do is pass the rare earth metal mining soon enough that you don't even cross the start trigger. So while your technology is at about half, you probably want to max this out. Unfortunately, it's very expensive. So, not optimal in many ways. We are not going to be passing any new manifestos, we don't even have the political capital, but we did successfully raise human development and GDP, so we fulfilled our promises. That should make everyone happy. Let's tally up the vote and see how we did. Our opposition spent a lot more money than we did. A lot more money. So far so good, though. A lot of non-voters. People didn't vote at all. Okay, so about 37% of the population didn't even bother voting. That said, our opposition got 0 votes. And I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good across the board. Nobody voted against me. 100% of the vote across the board for everybody. We have no conservatives, no rural, which is unfortunate, no socialists in this country, which is exactly what I wanted to see because I said I was going to turn this into a liberal capitalist country, and we did it. Religious, it says I got 100% of the vote, but considering I know that there are only 10 people in the country that are religious, I don't consider that to be much of a victory. But there it is. We did it anyway. The religious who hated me so much, we still got 100% of their vote. Ha 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 ha. Changes. Health up 100%. Education. Crime wasn't maxed out before, but there you go. Violent crime is gone. The environment's doing really well. Working week has been reduced to a more manageable level. Poverty is eradicated. Equality doing quite well. We are an egalitarian society, after all. Tech usage. A lot of people are traveling more. Productivity has gone up. The CO2 emissions is unfortunate, but there was really no way around that, and we counteracted that just fine with a functioning environment. Racial tension is gone, foreign relations, international trade, pretty much across the board, everything is looking really solid. It looks like by the end, though, that immigration did spike all the way back up to max, and I told you guys that that might happen. We passed border controls to get it down to a reasonable level, but as soon as my GDP became more profitable, guess what happens? They're back! I hate immigration in this game, I really do. There needs to be a more effective way to reduce it. And the way I see this is, governments, right, they have the right to determine how many people are allowed to enter the country. Like in the United States, for example, we have an immigration service, we have a bureau that's in charge of that stuff. We determine how many people we are allowing in every year, and so forth, right? And we should have that in this game. Now, if you set it too low, and there's really a lot of pressure to immigrate, then maybe you have a negative event for illegal immigration. That would make some sense. But as it stands, there's no way I am letting millions upon millions and millions of people just flood into my nation. It's not going to happen. Not in real life. This is one of the most unrealistic things in this game, in my opinion. Very unrealistic. Alright, oil demand's gone up, oil supplies getting drained down, poor earnings, middle earnings. Actually, everybody is doing much better than they used to. Even the middle class is making more money. GDP up 100%. We are relying very heavily upon private healthcare. Not private housing, because state housing, that happened. Private pensions, private schools, that's pretty cool. I like that. A lot of tourism, lots of traffic, lots of alcohol, so on and so forth. Corruption, foreign investment, stability, democracy, human development. This is pretty awesome across the board. Again, the average temperature doesn't make any sense, but whatever. We eliminated gender inequality in my game too. This is just great. How can you say this wasn't a good campaign? We clearly did well. We had our ups and downs. The beginning was rough. The election was rough, and we had a midterm crisis in my second term. But all in all, I think we've managed to pull ourselves out pretty darn well. That's the end of the series, everybody. I do hope that you enjoyed. I'm going to be taking a break from Democracy 3, as I usually do in between series, but when I come back, we probably will be getting back to the vanilla Democracy 3 game. I will pick up Australia as the only country that I have not played yet, and we will be setting it to maximum difficulty and see how we fare. If you guys are looking forward to that, then be sure to subscribe for my future content. Hit that like button, letting me know that you guys enjoyed this series, and of course leave me your comments, leave me your thoughts. I enjoy reading them. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.